Valerie Ryder O'Hanlon is a career coach. She is the founder of CLARENCE Consulting, and she joins Miriam O'Gara, host of Business Block. Business Block is powered by the Women's Inspire Network. Hello everyone, and you are very welcome to Business Block. On Monday's edition, we have another Women's Inspire member, and her name is Valerie Ryder O'Hanlon. And she is with us today to talk all things coaching.
Thanks very much, Miriam. I'm absolutely delighted to be here today with you.
Now, your company name is actually CLARENCE Consulting, isn't that right?
Yes, CLARENCE Consulting. I guess when I started out on my own back in 2014, I really was starting out more as a HR consultancy, and coaching wasn't in the mix at all at that stage. So my background had been, well, some of my background, as you know, some of my background was in HR. And that's why I went with the HR consultancy piece. But what I soon found out was that most people who, especially small businesses that hire HR consultancy, are usually calling you too late. So they're calling you when there's trouble, when there's something has gone wrong.
Yes.
And I just felt as if I was always getting the bad stuff to deal with. So it wasn't working out the way I thought it was going to work out with my own business from the HR point of view. So I found coaching then, and I changed, as they say these days, I pivoted to something else. So I took up with the coaching. Yeah.
And how have you found business coaching? Has it been an easy transition from consulting into coaching?
Yes, it has. I suppose when I was doing the HR consultancy, I was also doing a little bit of training, soft skills training. And what happened was that a client liked the work that I was doing with them, the HR consultancy piece and the training that I was doing. And they were doing a bigger program of a change management program. And they had multiple coaches working with their HR team. And they approached me and said, would you coach, maybe some of the junior HR team? And I said, well, I'm not a coach. I don't know how to coach. I don't know what it is. And they said, look, we think you'd be great at this. So really, they wanted me to be more of a mentor, I think, because it was HR team and it was more of being a mentor. But I loved it.
Yeah.
And I
can imagine that you would, because you would have been doing it pretty naturally without realizing.
Exactly, you would have been. And but I did do some research on coaching, what it was, how to go about it, and how to start a coaching conversation and how to end it and what happened in between. So I really liked it. But I thought to myself, I'm the kind of person that I don't feel that I could go and sell myself as a coach if I hadn't had the proper training to do it. So after I had done that piece of work for that client, I went off and did an official coaching qualification with a company called Coaching Development.
Coaching, and were they based in Ireland or are they based in the States? Or
they're based in the UK. They're based in London, but they had and they have a coaching program that they run here in Ireland. And at the time, it was affiliated with the Limerick Institute of Technology as well. So I went and did that course it lasted about 6 months, and it's very intensive, very experiential.
I can imagine, yes.
And it was super. And I always say to anybody, even if you don't want to be a coach, go do the course anyway, because it's life-changing. And the things that you discover about yourself. So it was life-changing. And since then, so I finished the course in 2015, and since then I've been coaching. Purely coaching since about 2016. And I do the odd little bit of training, or I do some webinars and workshops and things like that. But mostly it's just one-on-one coaching.
Now you've got such a plethora of qualifications since we'll get to this in a moment. I know about you from I know secrets. I know her secrets. You are you're with the International Coaching Federation.
That's correct.
Now, a lot of these that I'm about to call out, it's not an easy join. You've got to usually bide your time and wait. Full member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development.
That's it. Yeah.
Now, anything that's chartered, my goodness. Qualified financial advisor as well. Oh, I need to talk to you. I
Yeah.
love
So,
the way.
and they're funny kind of qualifications, I suppose. I suppose the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development is because I did my degree in human resource management.
Oh,
So I went back to college at night in my late 20s, and I did my degree in human resource management in UL. And I became you have to do, yes, as you said, to get chartered of anything, you have to go through a bit of a rigmarole to get that.
yes.
So it was based on experience, and um, it's based on work that you've done and also your qualifications and maintaining that qualification as well. So I'm a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Development, the CIPD, which is UK and Ireland based. And I'm a member of that for over 20 years. And they actually sent me out a lovely certificate for my 20th year anniversary of being a member. I didn't think places did that. I suppose I've never been a member of anything for that length of time. But it was great to get it, to get that certificate in the post and to kind of recognize the fact that actually, well, it is a big deal to be a member of something like that for a long time. And so that was great. So that's my HR. I suppose I worked in HR for a number of years, and I've that's where that qualification came from. The QFA, the Qualified Financial Advisor, everybody, and I suppose this kind of links in with the coaching piece. Everybody came to me for advice, whether it be, advice about their CV or advice about their health insurance or advice about, whether they should take this loan or that loan. For some reason, people seem to come to me for advice on those things. So when I took a bit of a break, I suppose, hit my 40s and had a bit of a wobble, and like a lot of people in their 40s have. I had a bit of a wobble, and I thought, well, what am I good at? And I kind of asked myself the coaching questions that I ask now of my clients, but I didn't realize that I was coaching myself at the time. So I asked, well, what am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? What gives me energy? What gives me a bit of a buzz? And I liked it when people came and asked me for advice.
Yes.
So, I'm like, I suppose a lot of people, I had an interest in money and earning it. And so that's why I went and I did the QFA, the Qualified Financial Advisor. So,
and tell me, Valerie, was there a light bulb moment for you in your 20s or in your 30s when you realized that I actually have a drive that is going to take me into either HR or business or something? Was there a moment when you realized this is my direction?
Well, I suppose I always had the drive. I mean, I remember one of my first jobs, a place called Lombard and Ulster Banking up in Dublin, in Mount Street in Dublin. And one of my first jobs, and the top floor, like any business, the top floor always has where the CEO is, and the management team were always on the top floor. So I used to get into the lift every morning, and I used to take the lift to the top floor, and then I'd walk back down to the first floor where I worked. So it was kind of like a thing that, I'm going to get there one day. I'm going to be getting that lift up to the top floor and staying on the top floor.
That's actually, that says a lot about you. That's a really good idea.
Yeah. So I always had the drive, but I didn't know where I was going. No, I didn't know. I didn't know that. And I don't think I hadn't found my niche until I did the coaching.
I can imagine. I'm just clicking into your website here.
Oh, great. Okay.
Which is clarenceconsulting.ie. And it's just
page.
Full of, you've got your email there.
Yeah.
Valerie at clarenceconsulting.ie.
That's it. If you go to maybe the career, see the career at the top of the page.
Yeah, go to the career page there.
Yeah. And you'll see some information about the kind of career coaching I do. And
so is that one of your main programs, Valerie?
Yes, career coaching is my niche. So
that's your niche.
That's what I'd always recommend to any coach, is that, find a niche, because there's a lot of coaches out there, and a lot of them are selling the same thing. Yes. So you have to find a niche, and then find something that, identifies you as, for some reason. So the career coaching is my niche. It just fitted nicely with what my experience had been in the past, and it suits my personality, I think, as well, the career coaching. So,
So do you break that down into a couple of areas? So are we looking at people who haven't yet started a career, or are you working in the main with people who are already established in a company and just don't know whether to move sideways
ready
or out?
established. I try to steer clear of the younger people, the straight out of school or straight out of college. I try to steer clear of that, but I do find myself getting quite a few of the college graduates coming to me. But what I would say is I break it down into transition. It's transition out of a job into a new job, transition out of a job into a new career, and transition upwards within the job that you're in or within the company that you're in. So one of the big things I think for me in anything that I've done is you have to take responsibility for yourself. And I think a lot of us, a lot of the time, leave the responsibility of our career up to other people. So it's about taking that responsibility for what it is that you're doing and making it happen. Like me getting, in the lift and going to the third floor, you have to make things happen for yourself. So nobody's going to come along and say, hey, Valerie, this is a great job. Here you go. You might get lucky, but usually you have had to have made some changes or done some actions in order to be able to get to that point. So I think that's what I try to work with my clients on, is taking control of their career, whether that be to move up internally within an organization or to move out into something different.
Yeah, I can see that's a very specific niche, and it's a really interesting one too, particularly for women, isn't it? Because women will often hold back because they don't want to be called pushy, for making it known that they want to climb the ladder or that they have an aim or a goal.
Yes, yeah, and that's that's one thing I always say as well, as I think the smallest words have the biggest impact. And ask is like one of my small words that I think are really important. Women don't ask. So we wait for somebody to offer or to tell us that this is what we should do or this would be good for us, rather than asking for what we want. So,
and do you feel it's still as bad as ever? Do you feel that that's still going on?
I do, Miriam. Yes, I do. Because and for women in particular, we get caught up in so many other things that are going on in our lives, whether it be caring for a family member or caring for children or, helping out in the GAA or the Tidy Towns. We're involved in so many different things. Yes. And sometimes our career, certainly, especially between that kind of 35 to 50 kind of age bracket, our career kind of goes off the rails or goes on the back burner for a while. And so then when we decide, oh gosh, actually, I do want my career to be something important for me, we feel as if it's too late, that we've left it too late.
Yeah.
And it isn't. It's never too late to make that change, never too late. But
it's never too late. And isn't it very sad too when you often see couples grow apart because he has continued in his job and he's gone through the career progression and she has come to a standstill. And it's still a thing that happens. It used to be worse, but it's still a thing that happens.
It definitely does happen. And as well as that, I think then people reach that kind of age 50, we've come through, whether it be the menopause, and we're getting to this kind of new found maybe vitality about ourselves. And we think, well, I've so much to give and to offer. I've loads of valuable skills and experience. How do I get myself out there to be able to use that and for other people to value it as well?
Absolutely.
So it is about, standing up, taking control and asking for what it is that we want with our career,
Yeah. So. And would you cover another angle as well, broaching your family for support? The right language to use to your family to explain to them that, look, I want to move forward now with career and job again. You might laugh, but mum wants to do this.
And, that's a really important part, Miriam, because sometimes we do reach out to our family for support and the support isn't there. And we get knocked back and we think, or they say it's not a great idea, or what are you thinking? Or, how are you going to go back to college and retrain or do something different when, such and such is going on in the household? So sometimes the support isn't there. So it is where I would give help and support in the coaching element is to overcome those barriers and to be confident in yourself that these are things that you want to try and you want to do. So I would work with people definitely on building that confidence around articulating what it is that they want so that other people will understand it. And so that you're not, you're looking for the support, but you're not looking for their advice, that you've already made up your mind and this is what's important to you,
Yes.
Because we do, a lot of us as well, that's another thing, is we look outside ourselves for advice and, and it's good to do that sometimes, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has to make those decisions. And that's the whole basis of coaching is, the answers to your issues yourself. So it comes from within. So, whatever change you want to make, you have to feel comfortable with that yourself first before you go out and articulate it to others and look for that support. So it's really important to trust yourself.
Absolutely agree with you. Yes. What is the hardest hurdle to overcome with a person? Because I know I've met people who sometimes they're actually on their own. And I think perhaps the isolation of being on your own can be the problem. But sometimes you'll meet a person and they have talked themselves into such negativity. And they actually have so much going for them, but they can't see it.
Yes.
You'll find that kind of person. Do you ever run into that kind of problem where actually the biggest hurdle is the person themselves?
All the time. And sometimes, sometimes it's very obvious. As you said, people, you can hear that negative self-talk. It's very obvious to hear that. And then other people then you meet and you think that they're going to be so confident about what it is that they're doing or where they're going. And actually they're not at all confident either, that it's hidden. And they've learned how to mask that lack of trust in themselves. So you do, that's, as a coach, I'm listening for that negative self-talk. I'm looking for evidence to support it or to not support it, as the case may be. And I'm looking for them to, we talk about reframing the language that we use. So I'm always looking to reframe that language into a positive language, and to use instances and evidence from the past of where things have been good or where there is achievement or times when they felt strong and confident and resourceful. And you're trying to recreate those feelings for the future and for instances that they can use it in the future. I use a great exercise called the Circle of Excellence. I don't know if you've come across it. I think it's an NLP exercise, but it's called the Circle of Excellence, where you create this beautiful, wonderful circle that surrounds you and supports you when you're feeling lacking in confidence and resourcefulness. And so, but to use it, you have to remember a time in your past when you felt good and strong and resourceful. And it's a really powerful tool. And the idea is that you keep this circle kind of, I always say it's like, the kids used to have these pop-up tents. You squish them together and fit them back into the bag. So I like to say the Circle of Excellence is like that. You squish it back into a little pocket, but then when you need it, it pops out and surrounds you and supports you and gives you the power really that you need to be confident and resourceful.
That's absolutely fantastic. And what about support for the consultants and the coaches like yourself? I mean, have you found that with the groups I read out there? Do they give you enough support?
Yes. It's very important as a coach to have support. So the first port of call for coaching support would be I get supervision. I get regular supervision from a more qualified coach and is qualified in supervision. So I would do supervision sessions maybe around 5 or 6 times a year. And that gives me the support to help, because I don't have all the answers. And as I said, the answers should come from the client. But sometimes you could be with a client and whatever it is you're doing may not be working. You can nearly mirror the difficulties that the client is having. And so it's important that you have somewhere to bring that, to discuss it and to work through how can you work through what's going wrong with you and the client working together. So that's what the supervision gives you. It's an added support for the client and for me to work through things. So the supervision is important. And then the other ways of support are, yes, the International Coaching Federation. They have a very active branch here in Ireland and very supportive. So, and they're there. We have to do regular CPD. So for I have a qualification, or what they call a credential in coaching. I'm a PCC coach. So that's professional certified coach. And for that, I have to have 30 hours of CPD over a 3-year period. So I have to do that ongoing continuous professional development. So they're very good for helping you with that. And then another piece that we also do is we have coaching circles. So they would be other coaches, just like myself. And it's like a little networking group. We meet maybe every 2 months and we talk about the new tools we might be using, or a book that we might have read that might be helpful and of support. And we share our ideas and we share our experiences. So that's really useful. I'm in the West Coaching Circle. So the West Coaching Circle goes all along the coast, the West Coast of Ireland. And we have a membership of about 35 coaches at the moment. So that's a great support as well. So it's a great, I have to say it's a great group of people, coaches. You know, they are very supportive. There's no, and actually I'd say that for a lot of the, small business owners I've come across, whether it be in the WIN network or in other women's networks locally, that I found, most small business owners are very supportive, very good for sharing their experiences and giving you a few tips on what worked for them or what didn't work, or that kind of thing. So that's what networking does as well, gives another support in that regard too. So that's always good.
It does. And I mean, this show on Mondays is powered by the Women's Inspire Network. Samantha Kelly, Tweeting Goddess, her wonderful network. And it's very much a top-down influence from Sam, because she draws like-minded people in. And I think perhaps that's why there are a lot of coaches in the network. They are people who are very conscious of how important it is to support, how important it is to take on self-care. And move forward and support each other with that. So I can quite understand what you're talking about. Just talk to me for a moment, Valerie, about the last 15 months, which hit most businesses very hard. How did that pan out for you and Clarence Consulting?
Well, I suppose in the beginning, everything just fell off the cliff because I would have met clients face to face. I would have had a little office here in Castletroy in Limerick that I would have used, and everything just stopped dead in the water. And then at the very beginning, actually 1 or 2 coaches got together and decided that they wanted to offer some support to the healthcare and emergency workers. So they started a thing called Connect to Coach, and it provided free coaching to emergency and healthcare workers, and I volunteered for that. So that was kind of gave me a little bit of a focus. Well, it was great. That was a huge input from the people who organized it. I was just a volunteer offering my coaching services, but and loads of other coaches did as well. But it gave us a little bit of a focus and took the focus off ourselves, and we felt as if we were contributing in some way, when everybody wanted to be in it together, I suppose. So that was one thing that was really very useful. And then people did start ringing again. I don't know what it was, but people started ringing. I did a few webinars on using my QFA, my financial advisor hat on, and I did some mini money skills and budgeting tips webinars and things like that. So it just tapped into what other resources you had and what other resources you could offer. And then, I don't know, but people just started ringing. People were unsure of where they were in their careers at that stage then. And they, either they might have been on the PUP payment, or they didn't know if there was going to be any tourism industry ever again. And people started to ring. So I would have always still been active. I'm, very active on LinkedIn. I'm on all the social media platforms. So I would have been active in that sense, I suppose, as well. And then I also, I do some associate work for another company. and they focus on outplacement. And they, unfortunately, somebody else's pain is our gain. And there was a large group of people that were made redundant towards the end of last year in Shannon. And I was one of the coaches working on that program. So supporting people that had been made redundant, yes, helping them with their CV, and or if they wanted to start a new business, or just with, you know, dealing with the whole crisis that they were going through in general.
Yes.
So that again, you know, kept me busy and kept going. So I suppose you feel sometimes in that 15 months, in some ways, you know, you were very cocooned, yeah, you know, because you're here working from home. I've got 3 teenage children, you know, so the focus was, you know, regrouping here. And, yes, and that was what took the priority as well. Because it was difficult then to find a space to do coaching online. You know, I had to set a desk up in the front room, and because my husband was in the office, and then the kids were all around the place. And so, you know, you had all those kind of elements all feeding in. Yeah. But I suppose I'm just the kind of, I just get on with things, and yes, you just have to look. This is the whole point of the positive language, and the positive outlook on things. You just have to look for, well, where's the gifts in this, and where's the positive pieces.
Gosh, your kids are so fortunate to have, yeah, a parent who focuses on that.
They wouldn't say that. They wouldn't say.
But you know, the importance of positive language.
Yes, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and getting them to you may not want them to know that you're advising them, but yes, drip feeding that in.
Oh, you drip feed it in. Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, definitely one thing I tried to instill in them is the sense of responsibility. So I do hope that they're fairly independent as teenagers, and they could get by without me if they have to. So that's the main thing, I think, for kids.
Did the last 15 months make you view your work differently and perhaps value it differently, and want to invest yourself maybe in it a little differently in the future as well? I know it did for me.
Did it? Yeah. I think it coaching always makes you feel privileged, you know, because people share their lives with me, yeah, you know, and they do share their innermost thoughts that they wouldn't tell a spouse, or they wouldn't tell their mother, or, you know, so people do share things with me.
Yeah, there's an aspect of the confessional about it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So that's a privilege. And I suppose that has come home to me a lot more deeply than what I had been feeling it before. So I think that's a real big piece that's kind of made a difference for me, you know. I did as well. I you know, listened to more podcasts and doing more reading over the last 15 months as well. And I did one of the, with Oprah, well, I think it was Oprah, they did a 21-day gratitude journal, and you have to write 3 things down that you are grateful for every day. And they have to be 3 different things. Oh my goodness, where did you find that?
I found that. Well, I know this. I was just saying earlier that I know about Valerie, but I know about her from a music, singing, and
oh my goodness,
years ago. From 1990 to 1994, I was a Bunratty Castle entertainer. Yeah, I think you joined a little later, didn't you?
No, I joined 94. That picture is 1994. That's the end of season.
That's 94.
That's the end of season picture 94. Yeah, yeah.
That's when I left.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I left, and I hasten to say, not because of Valerie Ryder. Let's just make that clear. I left to get married.
Wow,
and so I think you must have been that intake then, because I would have left around Christmas.
You would have been in Bunratty more as well, probably, were you?
I was Bunratty for the first 2 years, and I was Dungora for the second.
Oh, okay. So, and I was in Knappogue. So if you were in Knappogue, I was in Knappogue.
Well, yeah, here, we've got a photo just here. I don't know if anyone can see my cursor, but that is Valerie there.
That's me, yeah.
And Noel in the middle.
No, fantastic Noel in the middle. Yes, yeah.
All the different entertainers we used to work with there.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing about the castles was it was just a great time, wasn't it, Miriam?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was only when you
time. Yeah, when you go away afterwards. I mean, because I got married in Spain, and I realized afterwards, in the years that followed, so many of the people who were in the castles but who stayed close to home probably don't realize the gift that it was.
Yes.
In that you just don't get a variety situation like that, where you're doing 2 shows a night, 6 nights a week, 3 days off, 9 months of the year, maybe a tour then in your off months.
Yeah.
It's the closest you'll get to repertory theatre for a singer.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. I mean, with Knappogue, because we had, you know, a little bit of acting in it and a bit of dancing and the singing as well. But it was just such great fun. And that picture there on the front row was is Katrina Brennan.
Katrina Brennan.
Was that you? Is it?
That's me, but that's Knappogue.
That's Knappogue. That's the fireplace.
That's Knappogue. Yeah. On the odd occasion, Bunratty would do their show in the other castle in Knappogue.
Yes.
Just as you said, Knappogue.
Oh, you look
there.
Beautiful. Aren't you just gorgeous? Oh,
well, that was so funny because we'd done a tour, and we got off the aircraft at 3 o'clock, absolutely jet lagged. And the guy, Clem O'Sullivan, met us, of course. And the guys who were there to pick us up said, "You're not going home. We've got your get your dresses out of your bag. You're going straight to Knappogue Castle." And we thought, why are we going to Knappogue?
My goodness.
And we apparently there was this big, now really it was later on we discovered it, all of the big names in the tech industry, all of the big, all the Japanese, all of the Americans, all of them had come to an agreement that they were going to base themselves in Ireland, and every president, VP of all the big organizations were there.
Yeah,
and they couldn't fit them in Bunratty, but they put them in Knappogue. So we
in Knappogue,
we were
that's beautiful. That's a lovely picture to have.
Oh,
but I was just going to say, so the girl that was sitting on the front of the other picture there was Katrina Brennan was her name at the time. But I spoke to her before I got the job. A friend of a friend knew her. And so she gave me a few tips for the interview and audition.
Yes.
And as it turns out, me and Katrina are still friends to this day.
Oh, isn't that fantastic? And was it Clem and Stella?
No, Clem didn't do it. I think Clem had just left, or he was just kind of still floating around, but he didn't do the interview.
Stella took over by that stage. Stella Walsh. Yes.
Yeah, Stella and Jerry did the first audition. And then the second audition then was Stella. Paul Adams was there at the time.
Paul Adams was the managing director, yes.
Yeah, and Colette
Davis.
Was on
Oh my goodness.
I remember she did the ear tests with us for the second audition, and none of the other people waiting to go in knew that they were going to be getting ear tests and things, but I had known because Katrina had told me, and
told you.
I've been practicing
and rehearsing. Katrina.
But to this day we're still great friends, you know, so it's incredible.
Wonderful.
27 years later. Yeah.
Wow. I know. Isn't it something else?
Yes.
Valerie, just if I were to ask you for 3 pieces of advice for people now, either coaches who have gone into the business or anyone who's going solo now, they've taken the leap. Perhaps they were on the cusp before, but then the pandemic came along and they then realized, look, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I may not have the money, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
So I'd say to anybody, the first thing to do is to trust themselves. Trust themselves. So look within themselves and trust whether it's their body or their head or their heart, trust what it's telling them. That's the very first thing. And then I go back to my ask. Ask for what it is that you want. So ask for the support that you might need from your family. Ask for the promotion that you're looking for in work. You know, ask for what it is that you want.
Yes.
And a third thing is stay positive. You know, be positive. You know, I'm a big believer in luck, and I know a lot of people aren't. They think that luck might kind of undermine their abilities or the effort that they've put in. But I think luck is a really important thing, and I think if you feel lucky, you'll attract that luck to you. You know, you feel positive, feel lucky, then that'll come back to you in spades. You know, that's what's worked for me anyway.
That's excellent advice. It really is excellent advice for people. Valerie Ryder O'Hanlon, she is now. Thank you so much for being on the show. That was wonderful.
You're welcome. That was really enjoyable. Thanks very much and great to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you too. Look, everybody, Mondays is Women's Inspire Day. So if you want to listen to some wonderful solo entrepreneurs such as Valerie, please tune in on Mondays. If you're not in Women's Inspire, but you're a local business and you would like to be featured on the show, I also run a Thursday business block. So spread the word, subscribe, tune in, and I look forward to seeing you all next Monday and Thursday. Bye-bye for now, everyone.